I'm going to introduce you to George, who is the co-founder of this space as well.
Hi everybody, my name is George. So we had a couple of interesting changes this morning, and so I'm jumping in to help out Josh. I am learning also a lot about kind of what the class, is interested in, but I'd also like to know directly from you, what are some of the things that you're interested in co-working, what questions you may have about who works here, the space, what would you like to see? So I'll give you an opportunity to write that in. While I do that, I'll kind of give you a little bit of a brief history on why I'm here and why I'm doing this being this project of co-working and starting this. So I lived here as a kid, and I kind of grew up around Southeast Asia. So I grew up in Bangkok, and then I grew up also in Jakarta in Indonesia, and then here twice, and then also I kind of, as a young adult, lived in Africa and Middle East, North Africa. And so I've always traveled around for a while, and never really felt like I had roots anywhere in particular. And so I didn't realize that at the time, but when I got older and moved back to Hawaii, somewhere that has always been kind of like a home to me, I realized that I had a desire to build a community. This idea of co-working came around to Hawaii in 2012, 2013, even though it had been kind of started in New York in around 2006. And at the time, there was only a really small co-working space called Box Jelly. I'm not sure if some of you have heard of it. Ray Chung is the founder. And so we decided to build another one, and myself with some other people. And I realized that was something that was really important to me, was building community, right? Helping others do what they want to do with their life, supporting them in ways that I can. So it started from a really small idea, and just started off with just meetings in a boardroom downtown, open boardroom meetings. Anyone could join, to an initial project in downtown, Kaka'ako. Josh mentioned that it was in the Proto Hub was over by Salt, before Salt was Salt. And then we won a large grant. I worked really hard on receiving a grant and aid from the state. And the grant and aid was $350,000 because we showed the state and the legislators how important it is to have a safe space where people feel like they could take risks and build some of their ideas and build their projects and build their dreams, right? So that's their businesses. And when you have a space where a lot of people are doing that, you have these community collisions. And what that means is people around the water cooler, people around the coffee pot, they have these conversations where they're like, hey, I need a graphic designer. Do you know anyone? And the other person's like, I'm actually a graphic designer. It's perfect. And so they meet, they end up building a project together, or one gets hired by the other. And we've seen some really interesting projects kind of come out of that. So that's, we showed the state how important that is to have a safe space for that. And so we were able to win that grant and aid in 2016. And so that money allowed us to build this space that we're directly across from Whole Foods down in Ward area, just Malka. So with that backstory, I can just see if there's any questions that have come in, if anyone is interested in any particular spot of the space or learning about anything particular about the hub.
One of those questions is, how many different types of businesses have used the co-working space? And do you have some examples of the variety of businesses that are here?
Great question, and I don't necessarily have a specific answer to that specific question, because we'll see. So we have, I'll just give you an example of maybe 3 or 4, and Josh, you can step in too if you have any other people. So one person that I thought would be interesting to talk to during our tour is a a startup real estate company called Pineapple Group, and they're all very young. And so we have a real estate group of about like 7 people here. You have Larry, who's a graphic designer, and his main client is Marino High School. And then we have a coder. His name is Jeff, and he has been kind of like been floating around doing really interesting projects, connecting with people from the mainland or the continental U.S. So he doesn't necessarily like, he works here, but all his gigs and projects are over either U.S. mainland side. And then we have like a dental insurance company that was a startup, and they provide dental insurance to all of the dental groups, a majority of the dental groups in Hawaii. So it's super interesting. I mean, like I don't have a list specifically of the types and varieties, but I can tell you that it's just like such a wide variety. And then, another example would be of the wide variety is like Women in Filmmaking, the nonprofit. Vera is awesome. She provides opportunities for young women to get exposed to how do you direct, produce, and film and shoot documentaries and films.
Well, I'm going to start following George around. George, take it away.
Okay, so we're gonna take a walk.
So as we walk, folks, feel free to take a look. You're gonna get a preview of the space as we go. So definitely take a look around. There are a lot of things to see.
Okay, so here's the entrance. This is where you would be as if you were to walk into the space. Okay, so we always have a host at the front desk. We're actually kind of creating this idea of Aqua Box, which is like a space for people to, if you're a jewelry, for example, business, you can leave your jewelry here and then someone can come by and pick it up. And so we're always like experimenting with new ideas. And we have a host here, and the host is typically like a work trade. So they get a free membership here, or they get a membership here, and then they provide 4 hours a week to be the host. Jen is a graphic designer. This is one of the pivots that Josh was talking about as far as like COVID and how you keep your community safe. And so like this has been a little bit of a pivot in learning about what's the best way to kind of keep the community safe. And so that's like hand sanitizing, signing in. We take one of these, and you always make sure that you have one of these at your desk, and so that you leave it here. So we sanitize twice a week, or twice a day. Sorry.
So those are just like placeholders on the desk so that people know not to use them.
Right.
Interesting. Okay, very cool.
This is all kind of like the open space, right? So this is the concept of Coworking. So you can see people have kind of pulled up and they're like got their headphones in. Maybe they're jamming music. Maybe they're like this on a Zoom call or some sort of conference or something like that. So we have different types of membership, right? So we have from the very top, we have the 24/7 unlimited access, right? So we don't really have a lot of places like that in Hawaii. So people come in here and sometimes they work New York hours or LA hours. And so they come in the middle of the night our time, but it's, early morning New York time. So they'll be working here and then they're done with the day until like 2 o'clock. So I want to point out something here. So this is some new art that has been put up, and Josh has done an awesome job in bringing in artists to kind of fulfill the space. So there's one thing to kind of know is that like artists are entrepreneurs as well, right? They're risk takers. They follow the passion. So I think it's important to bring in artists into the area of entrepreneurs. I think it's a wonderful collision of ideas and creativity. So over here we have Lauren Trangmar, and so Lauren has done a really interesting job where these are all locations and spots in Kaka'ako and downtown. So this is over by Salt area. Here's Bicky. We are here. Wow. And then there are also some spots where this is the fish ponds from back in the day, and this is what it used to be. This is what Kaka'ako used to be back in the day. So it's really interesting stuff. So Lauren Trangmar, she has her stuff right now at Pig and the Lady.
I noticed the innovation, folks. Like this just used to be a pillar, and now they used it for a space for art.
This artist her name is Arya, and on what you'll see is like robots and aliens, right? At first glance, and that's awesome. This is her. She's actually in Savannah, Georgia, right now, at one of the premier art schools in the nation, and she's doing comics. She's creating comics. But on the left side is the planets of the robots, and on the right side are the planets of the aliens. And as you go down the pillars, you'll notice it's like a story. At the end of the pillars, the robots and the aliens are trading and becoming a community where they're like helping each other out. And so there's a story along the pillars, which is super interesting. So we have events kind of happening throughout. So as Josh mentioned, pre-COVID, we had a lot of events. I would say sometimes like 3 to 5 events a week, and there were major events, sometimes accommodating up to 100 people. And sometimes we would have big parties where we would have over like 200 people in the space. And so we had music and dancing and stuff like that. And that's no longer the case. And so it's been kind of hard for us to have the space no longer hold that kind of energy. But we still do have some virtual events, and some members are doing some really interesting things, and so we're trying to accommodate that. So in this space, you can imagine if you get a phone call and it's an important phone call, and then maybe it's like, you don't want people to know what you're saying, you can jump into the phone booth. So we have some fun London-style phone booths, and so you can jump in, plug in, turn on the light if you want. We have some interesting phone booths that were created by recycled products. And so this is all recycled wood. There's another one. So there was a question before we started about the variety of people and the businesses that are here. So this is actually kind of an interesting like perspective to look at. So you'll see that there are people who are doing interesting things, right? So like, I don't know if has anyone eaten that banana before? This is like Zach, right? Zach and his crew. We have an opera singer right here. And then we look at construction, and you have people who are doing different things in construction. We have real estate. So I could have spent a long time talking about that, but there's so many different things that people are doing.
And so you put them under categories, or do people come up here and look at who different people and who they're working so that they can connect and collaborate?
Yeah, and so right now we're actually trying to, how do we, like, the idea is like, okay, this is great because it's nice to like touch things, but we're also trying to figure out how do we make it digital. And so that's been a little bit of a project on our end right now. And so if anyone has ever tried Mighty Networks or looked at Mighty Networks, that's what we're trying. The idea here is how do you connect people and how do you get them to think about what do they do best that can help build community. We want to make that impact. We want to build community and make impact at the same time. This is the kitchen. This is the shared kitchen. We have showers for men and for women. Men are on the left side, women are on the right side. Shared refrigerator. We have coffee for members. So instead of going to a coffee shop to work, you don't have to like do the coffee shop hustle, which is basically always looking to see if there's a desk or a table available. I was tired of that before co-working, and so that's actually one reason why I helped build this. We have kombucha and nitro coffee on tap from Sky Kombucha, which is a family farm in Waimanalo. And then we have beer on tap for members. It's got to be over 21 though.
Why is it that you all have showers here as well? Some people are asking in the chat.
Well, so, I mean, we wouldn't have been able to build the showers. It was a gym before we decided that it was really special to do that. And the reason why is because, like, we believe in celebrating and also like in play. So like, how do you like get people to use time during their day to go work out, to go surf, to go for a bikkie ride? And so if you need to, you can come back and take a shower. And so we want to provide those amenities for members and for the community so that they can have the also. So this is the sound box. This is a noise dampening, noise-proof, soundproof room with a microphone for recording.
Very cool.
So this can be used for podcasting, for holding like an online conference room, or just maybe if you have like a really delicate conversation to have, you can use this. So this is kind of, I'm recording maybe music if you want. We have about 40 offices around, and so not only are we open co-working, but we're also like, we have offices and designated desks as well. What's important for people is that you're not just like, you have the option to move to somewhere that fits you for that time, right? So you can be writing a paper and you're like, the space is so boring right now, so I want to go to a different nook, a different cranny of the space. And so we have that opportunity for people to do that. If you want to be in somewhere louder, maybe it's somewhere you can talk to some people, you can do that. Or you can go upstairs where it's super quiet, super tuned in and zoned in, where you can actually get stuff done. So I want to introduce a member. So we have about 30 people on the call, and they were curious about who works here, what types of businesses work here. And so I mentioned the Pineapple Group, and I thought maybe you can introduce yourself and kind of explain what you do and why you chose to
be part of your team, the community here. Okay, so my name is Tyler Tillman. I work for the Pineapple Group. We're a real estate group, and we're underneath the lead agent. His name's Devin Tryon. And so what we do is we help people find homes in real estate. And I am in charge of the whole business part. So I'm the operations manager, and I basically do all of the things. When I say all the things, I mean all of the things. So, which is great in this workspace because I get to use the printers, I get to communicate with other people here. I mean, this whole space is so diverse. And so the best part about working here is that if someone needs help or like, hey, I'm looking to buy a home, we're like, oh, we're here. And they already know us and we already built that connection. So that's been really important for us. And it allows us to be super free. I mean, I get to work in a space that's surrounded by wonderful people, which is awesome. And then we do have a little office here. So if I do want privacy, I get to be in that little space and have it my own, which is great. Thanks, George. But yeah, that is us. That's cool. The Pineapple Group.
Does anybody have any questions for Tyler?
I think one question is, how often do you find yourself here using this space?
Oh my goodness, I don't leave. that's been the problem. But we had sleeping pods, I probably would just live here. I work a good maybe 10 to 12 hour days, Monday through Friday. So the membership that I'm on is the 24-hour one, which is perfect for my needs. I get to come in when I want. I'm responsible enough to like have a key to this place and like be hold accountable for, cleaning up when no one's here, shutting off the lights. So it's really great for my needs. And then for the agents, they're on a part-time plan. So they can come Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. And that just allows them to come here, take some calls, bring some clients in, leave, and come as they go, like as they please for that period of time, which is great. So yes, I'm here like all the time, and I love it.
And how often do you find yourself collaborating with other companies and organizations that are working here?
Very often, actually. I actually met my best friend here. She's a part of a different group. I just know her by Chad. Her name's Regina. She's on the architectural part of things, and so what we are now starting to talk about is like collaboration. So if they ever need to purchase land or anything, they'll have like realtors and like vice versa. People want to invest. So that's been kind of cool. So, I mean, every day I get to talk to people, from a distance.
Thank you so much, Tyler.
Yeah,
Thanks,
of course.
Tyler.
Thanks so much, Tyler. Nice meeting you.
Maybe let's take a look at this mirror real quick. This is one of my favorites. So when I have a plate lunch and I don't want to go to sleep right after, and then I come over here and I turn it on, and maybe I'll do some work over here so I don't fall asleep and have a connect attack. That's kind of what this is about. It's this concept of like, how do you work and also like kind of move your body at the same time? So we're trying it out. We put it here. Some people like it. Some people find it's really hard to write and to walk at the same time. I always find it's nice to do it after lunch.
Right. And you can see here, there's still some stuff being built.
We're coming back to where we started. We're always playing with like different types of technology. This is super interesting. This is the meeting owl. You can take a look at it online. But this right here is a 360 camera. Basically, you plug this into your computer. And what's nice about it is we have that monitor up there. So we can have 4 people around this table, plug one computer into this camera and microphone. And let's say some of our team is virtual. Basically, not everybody has to have their laptop open, and it's just one laptop, but the virtual people can see everyone around the room. And this splits up into like 4 different cameras, and it follows people based on their movement and based on their sound, which is super rad. So it's always fun kind of like playing with different technologies, different toys and stuff like that. And like, how do we help out our members with technology that would be helpful for them? So yeah.
And we have a bunch of questions that are flooding the chat. So I'm gonna ask just some questions, and then Josh and George, if you wanted to kind of hop in and answer those questions, that would be great as well. There seems to be a lot of innovation in this space. So like who comes up with all of these ideas to grab these different types of innovative spaces? And then who provides all these furnitures and decorations as well?
The innovation in this space is a continuous change. And so Josh, my co-founder, Nam, and I, and also another partner, Mita, we get together once a week, some of us twice a week. And some people are just better at figuring out how space can be a teacher and how space can be an innovator than others. And so they have really interesting ideas. And sometimes it's just like people come to us and be like, hey, have you ever thought about maybe changing this corner, or maybe getting this to help with communities or helping with members? And we'll be like, oh, that's interesting. I never thought about that. So it's just like a continuous thing going on.
A lot of it is from member feedback as well, and community feedback, which is really important. We have a suggestion box, and we chat with the members throughout the week. So a lot of it is with influence from them, as well as like what we're seeing in required needs from the community. So the sound box that George showed earlier, prior to us getting that sound box and building it out, we had a lot of requests for people that wanted to book meeting rooms specifically for podcast recordings, or we had teachers that were using the space that needed to record their lessons in a quiet place. So something like that, we're very happy to be able to purchase and provide for our members.
Another question came up about utilizing the space for also folks who are younger. So have you had students come in, like in the high school age or even college age, use the space? And how have they used the space in order to, or how have you accommodated their needs here?
So we do have our Impact Scholar program. So we provide scholarships for each college and university on the island. And that's an opportunity for those students to use the membership and work out of our space. But with some of the pivots that are going on because of COVID, we've also seen an increase in student membership. So lots of college students who right now are all doing their classes online, need a space to work that's not their home or not a coffee shop. We've seen an increase in membership for those types of students as well.
As far as high school is concerned, historically we haven't, because there hasn't been a need, right? During the summer months, we reached out to McKinley High School and some other high schools and figuring out how we can provide a safe, comfortable location for students to access Wi-Fi, especially if they may not have reliable Wi-Fi at home, or maybe they have no AC at home, or it's too loud and distracting at home. And so we were working with a guy named David Miyashiro and Hi Kids Can to figure out how we can provide that. Once we were about to like roll out this program, we had to get not shut down, but the community got shut down again. So that was I think in like September. So it's been a difficult year, because like we come up with ideas and we want to like work with them, and then all of a sudden we cannot anymore. So it's but right now we don't have any high school kids, because We just haven't been approached by any, but that doesn't mean that we're not open to providing that or coming up with that idea again.
Great. Thanks for that. So it seems like you have a lot of folks that are usually come in and out. But have you ever encountered a day where there's too many people in here? Like, is there a booking system that you have, or is it pretty free range and public for folks to come in if they have a membership?
For our meeting rooms, we do have a system through our member app that people can book, and it isn't just members either. People who don't necessarily have a membership can use our meeting rooms during our business hours, so Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. But that's an opportunity to see what meeting rooms are available based on what their needs are. In terms of like our open spaces that George showed you, it's not often that we're at capacity, so we're able to control that because we are such a big space and we can spread everyone out. But we have noticed that like most people, like let's say Monday through Wednesday in the mornings, it tends to be busy. And then a lot of people tend to clear out by lunchtime or early afternoon because everyone's working on such different hours. Like George mentioned, like East Coast time, West Coast time.
And what I didn't show you is that we have a second floor as well, upstairs. And the second floor is a very different feel. It's like more office-y, if there's an adjective like that. And it's quieter, and so if people need that, they can go upstairs. But that's a really good question. And Josh mentioned we have 18,000 square feet, so that's a lot of space. And so we've been very careful, and there's been a couple of days when we're like, whoa, this is super busy, and we've had to think about how do we spread out the desks a bit more to accommodate because of social distancing, but we haven't gotten to that point yet. Today is Friday, so what we find is that Fridays are typically more quiet. And I think it's just because entrepreneurs like to maybe take Friday off, or maybe take the half Friday off if they can. So that's kind of what you're seeing, a lot less people today.
How do you recruit businesses to come to your space and rent out and create a membership here as well?
We recently done a survey through our member app, and a lot of our referrals or people inquiring are through word of mouth. So our members are sharing the perks and benefits of working out of the hub, as well as a Google search. So people are just hopping on Google and searching for flexible workspace, or maybe they're familiar with Coworking. So we immediately pop up as soon as they search that. But it also helps too with our location. So we have a very convenient location. So people just so happen to be shopping in the Ward area, or maybe they're shopping at Whole Foods and they see us in the distance. We've had a lot of people walk in for tours and just say, I was in the area, I saw you through Whole Foods, and I was curious what the place is.
Someone just asked, you all mentioned business development on your website as one of the offerings. Could you explain a little bit about what that means?
We do offer different programs when possible. One of the programs that we're currently working on that George is heading is Next for Me. So this is an opportunity to help members figure out different pivots for either their business or like their personal professional development on what's next for them. So things alongside that.
In addition to that, during the, so we're having more and more virtual events right now. But before the COVID, we were having like lunch and learns, right? So the freelancer network was really important. So lunch and learns would be like someone coming in who is an accountant and wants to provide a class to people on basic accounting skills for your startup business. So we would always have those kind of like lunch and learns and classes and stuff like that. And we would partner with other programs and groups to provide those. Right now, I'm also, in addition to Next for Me, partnering with Teach for America to develop a entrepreneur kind of like incubator for people who are doing social impact businesses. And so it'd be like an 8-week program where we sit together with them, with mentors, and help build out their businesses.
Another person just asked, have you collaborated with other places around the area as well? I know that there's a lot of different businesses and organizations around the area. Someone mentioned specifically Ohanahali Marketplace, which is similar to like a co-business retail space. Have you been collaborating with other folks as well?
I haven't collaborated with OHM specifically, but I will say I do appreciate what OHM is doing and providing for small business owners. I think it's a great space and lots of cool places to eat there. But we do try to partner with our immediate neighbors. So when we were able to have events, we would have different types of events with Still and Moving Center. We've collaborated with a barbershop that's nearby and offering haircuts for houseless members of the community, as well as offering discounts for our members. And we do try to partner with businesses that are located nearby for like member perks and discounts that we can offer.
We're kind of discussing with the two other co-working spaces around the downtown area and creating like a joint program for newcoming people moving to the island.
So we're going to round up to the final question. A lot of our students on this call are ready or want to enter the workforce. So what is one piece of advice that you have for someone who's about to enter the workforce?
So I'd say definitely have your resumes ready. I'd encourage everyone to have LinkedIn profiles if possible. That's also another way to kind of share your work experience with your potential employers. But along with that, I'd say to constantly be learning, because things are ever changing. So just stay up to date with certain things. Take advantage of any free classes or programs that are offered, and just be flexible.
The other thing that I would suggest is stay humble. So I think that also ties in with what Josh is talking about when always learning. I think that you, just because you're maybe leaving high school or university, doesn't mean that you should stop learning. I mean, if anything, I am doing more learning every day, just on like what I should be doing for my business, learning about different accounting kind of things. And so it's always about just like engaging yourself and always building yourself. And I think the other thing is change is, there's definitely opportunity with change, no matter how scary it is. Even when something like this pandemic hit, which created a large change for our society and for us, it can be very scary at first, but I don't think that it's always bad. In fact, if you stay humble and always learn and kind of think about how you could take advantage of it, change can be on your side and you can really grow from it.
All right, folks. So I am transitioning to another screen now. Go ahead and shower the chat with some thank yous to Josh as well as George here. That concludes the tour of the Hub Coworking Hawaii. At the very beginning of this presentation, you saw their slide with their contacts. So if you wanted to follow them on Instagram, on Twitter, and they gave some great advice about different ways for you to get involved as well. There is their website as well as their social media. So feel free to follow them there for any updates. I appreciate you all being here today again, and I'll see you all, I believe next year is our next tour. So I'll see you all in 2021.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you again to Hub Coworking Space. Thank you, Lord Ryan, and to all our guests. Thank you for joining us today.